A pleasant evening to all sons and daughters of Oodua all over the world. Once again, my name is Sheye Adesonya, and I bring you greetings from the city of Philadelphia. I represent the Yoruba Exodus movement. This is the second in a series of broadcasts that we started a couple of days ago. There's so much to talk about. But let me quickly reiterate this fact that the Yoruba nation is divine. The Yoruba nation is divine. The Yoruba race, as I said in the first broadcast, has a divine mandate to emancipate the black race. And so, for the Yoruba race to be able to accomplish that task, it also has to be liberated. And like I said in the first broadcast as well, that if you have a mandate, especially when it is divine, you have to go through the process. And I also said that the Yoruba race for over 60 years that the British handed over us to the evil Fulani race. We have been going through the process. And it's set time to liberate the Yoruba race so that it can go forward to fulfill their mandate. That time has come. And so I want to say at this time that let Sunday Igboho be incarcerated. 1,000 of Igbohos have risen up. Now, before I go on, I'm just going to quickly tell this short story. A couple of months ago, I was discussing with an old friend, a high school friend, and then she narrated how she went for a burial of a friend's father a couple of years back, and they spent about 5 days there. And then she mentioned the name of that, small town. And then she said, they were just moving around the town and they were seeing a lot of Fulani guys. Some of them riding Okadas, some of them, engaging in other activities around. And then they began to ask questions. Why are Fulanis, so much in this, little city, village? And then they said to her that they mine gold in that city. And when she, mentioned the name of that, the village, it happened to be the village of, the revered man of God, Pastor Adeboye. The name of the town is Ifewara. And I said, that happens to be, the town of, Pastor Adeboye. She said, yes. Now that the activity of the Fulanis mining gold there has been on for a couple of years. In fact, for so long. And I now began to wonder, most of our religious leaders have refused to come out to condemn the activities of these Fulanis, let alone talking about the self-determination. And I began to wonder, if nobody talks about the activities of the Fulanis, and nobody talks about self-determination, in a couple of years, maybe in another 20, 30 years, are we going to have Christianity in Ifewara? And how happy would Pastor Adeboye be, even if he has gone to the great beyond at that time? Of course, his cousins, his, extended family members would have been killed. Some of them who will be lucky to be alive, then would have been converted to Islam. And they will be slaves to this evil race called Fulani race, who are hell-bent occupying the lands of other people. All of this nonsense has to stop. Now, for every religious leader who has been profiting from the status quo and who do not want a divided Nigeria, I think they need to go and think. And the question is, what is their interest? Now, that is for the Christians. For the Muslim, Islamic leaders of the Southwest, who are still dancing to the tunes of the Fulanis, they need to hear this. When the Fulani overruns you, they are not going to say that you are a Muslim. They are going to overrun you, they are going to kill you, and if you survive it, you are going to continue to play second fiddle to them. So you need to wake up now. For all our youths who are Muslims, who are beclouded by religious sentiment, it is time for them to wake up. The Fulanis are not interested in either you are a Muslim or a Christian. All they are interested in is eliminate your race. And I'm quickly going to say this. When God created, the universe, and he created man, he gave every man his race. And then gave every man his own space. So you have your race, you have your space. So it is against the law of creation for a particular race to wake up and say they want to, exterminate other races. It is an evil agenda. And so the Fulani race is evil for believing that they have a right to exterminate other races and take over their lands. I'm also going to talk briefly to every Yoruba man who is not in support of this agitation for self-determination. I think they need to go and have their head examined. For whatsoever reasons, they are not coming on board. They need to know that when the Fulani takes over, they are all going to be gone. I've listened to a couple of them on social media. One of them who says she's a Kemi Omololu lawyer. And another woman who an elderly woman who has nothing positive to contribute. if you don't believe in self-determination of the Yorubas, please keep quiet and stop speaking against it, because it is divine. For our Obas, who are supposed to be the custodian of our culture and our heritage, protecting their people from any form of external aggression, but who happen to be the ones selling us out for best reasons known to them, for their selfish gains. It is unfortunate that we have come to the level of making charlatans kings in Yoruba land. And people say, don't talk to kings. Who are these people, for God's sake? These are people who do not know the essence of being paramount. They sell their lands to the Fulanis. They sell their people to the Fulanis, knowing fully well the agenda of the Fulanis. It is never too late for these Obas, because when the Fulani comes, they will run you over. And like some people have been asking, is it that these Obas do not have children who are matured, who are civilized, and who have a heart for the people? Aren't they talking to their parents? Many of them live in developed worlds. They are accomplished. But then they are not talking to their parents. Where are the so-called Oloris? They are just comfortable in the corner of the palace, while their people, the subjects of their husbands, are being sold out. To our politicians, who feel that it is none of their business. They, like Korah in the Bible, are well integrated into the Nigerian system. Their families are settled, well settled. They have houses all over the world and chains of businesses all around. And so they are comfortable. They are less concerned. When the Fulani comes, you all are going to be run over. All those things you look up to, that you have acquired, they will all be gone within a twinkling of an eye. Those of you who will survive it will be slaves to the Fulanis. And to those dull heads who call themselves political thugs, I think they need to go and reset their brains. Has your life been better since you have been acting as a political thug to someone, to the politicians? Enough is enough. And I wish to state here that many of us who have been into the struggle for many years, for over 20, 30 years, we have come back on board. I have never believed in Nigeria. Way back in the late 80s, as a young undergraduate, I have always been saying it. I don't believe in Nigeria. I grew up in the barrack, the early 70s, and I know what I saw. And I never believed in Nigeria. And so I also want to say this in wrapping up, because I don't want to take much of our time, Henceforth, I think we should stop referring to that government as Nigerian government. We should start referring to that government as Fulani government. And I'm going to end with this. The whole world is looking the other way around, the other way, why the Fulanis are having their way in Nigeria. But I need them to know. I need you, America, to know. I need you, Britain, to know. I need you, France and Canada. If the Fulanis are allowed to take over Nigeria, it's going to be a springboard for them to destroy your countries. It's going to be a springboard for them to destroy your businesses. And you don't want to wait for that time before you begin to act. And so I'm calling on all these governments now. Whatsoever you have in your capacity to do to stop the menace of this evil race called Fulanis, this is the time for you to do that. It is time for you to support the self-determination of the Yoruba race, the self-determination of the Biafrans. This is the only thing that can put a check to the evil agenda of the Fulanis. There's so much to talk about. I usually do not like my broadcast to go beyond 10-15 minutes. So it doesn't bore us, it doesn't take much of our time, because I know people got a lot of busy schedule. I am going to stop here today, and as the Lord wills, we shall continue very soon. Yoruba Nation now. Yoruba Nation now. Yoruba Nation now. Thank you all.